Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Bearcats Mean Business, the official podcast of the University of Cincinnati's Carl H. Lindner College of Business. My name is Haley Feit, Digital Content Specialist with Lindner's Marketing and Communications team. And here with me today, I am joined by Dr. Jane Sojka, Distinguished Teaching Professor of Marketing, and Phoebe Pappas, President of Lindner Women in Business, a student organization dedicated to empowering emerging business leaders by providing allies, perspective, and resources. Welcome, Jane and Phoebe.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves, Jane?
Sure. So my name is Jane Sojka, and my elevator pitch is that's like soy milk, only Sojka, and it makes it easy for everyone to remember. I'm a marketing professor here at UC. I founded the Sales Center, and we are proud to be named the top sales center for the country. Currently serving as a faculty fellow at the Warren Bennis Leadership Institute, and my pride and joy is I teach women in sales.
Yes. My name is Phoebe Pappas. I am a fourth-year marketing and professional sales student here at UC. I'll be graduating in the spring. I'm super excited about it. My involvement includes Lindner Women in Business primarily. Last year I served as the Chief Marketing Officer, and this year I'm the President, which is such an honor, and it's so wonderful to be a part of that organization.
Fantastic. It's wonderful to hear about the both of you. Jane and Phoebe actually join us today as we honor Women's History Month, the annual celebration of women's contributions to society and our collective history that occurs every March. When the both of you think of contributions of women, specifically in the broad field of business, what comes to mind for each of you?
Boy, that's a really good question. And it's numbers. It's numbers. When I started out, before both of you were born, I was the only woman in a Fortune 500 company. So I was the only woman at the table. Now, oh my goodness. I mean, we have a woman on Wall Street finally heading up a bank. I counted up in my entire academic career, that's an undergraduate, MBA, PhD, I had 5 women professors.
Wow.
And I know, it takes your breath away, doesn't it?
Seriously.
That's not been your experience. Mm-hmm. And that makes me so happy. When I came to UC, I was the second woman in the department. It was one woman, all men. Now we are 50%, we might even be 60% women.
Wow.
And as we all know, we have a woman dean.
Exactly.
So I think the numbers tell the story.
Totally. On the same kind of train, I think just luckily for me, I know so many powerful, passionate, creative women in my personal life and professional life, whether it's through LWIP or my friends and family, and I find it hard to think of one single contribution or one single significant moment that really stands out for me. I just think I've been lucky to see so many successful women embody so many incredible capabilities and so many incredible qualities. So you have, the introverts, but they're really good at the meticulous kind of organizational stuff. But then you have the extroverts that are good at talking and communicating and leading. So for me, there's not really a single contribution that I can think of. And I think that is an awesome thing because it's kind of like a what can't they do type of deal. So
I love that answer. I think that's a fantastic mindset to approach business and the study of business here at Lindner. Speaking of which, I gave our listeners a brief description, Phoebe, but can you tell us more about Lindner and Women in Business and what the organization does?
For sure. So you nailed that kind of textbook definition, helping prepare and empower female leaders, which is definitely what we do. LWIB is, for the sake of this podcast, instead of saying Lindner Women in Business, I'm going to say LWIB. It's many things to me, but in general, an organization dedicated to empowering, uplifting kind of the next generation of female business leaders. And this is done a variety of ways. We have professional meetings once a month. We have speakers come in from the Cincinnati area from a variety of industries, companies, levels, whether it's small business or, Fortune 500. And they teach us and they workshop with us about different either problems that, they might have faced being a woman in the workforce, whether it's imposter syndrome or just kind of balancing those gender roles. And then also resume workshops or how to ace an interview type of deal. So those are more professional centered. And then the other time a month that we meet is kind of a designated social where we kind of learn how about ourselves, learn about each other. And it really cultivates those safe relationships that when we go into these networking situations, we go in these business situations, you can be like, oh, there's an LWIB girl. I had a really good, meaningful conversation with her that one time at that one social. So I think having the social and having the professional meetings really give us that great balance and great relationships within LWIB.
Fantastic. Now, on your journey from a member to now president, what has the personal impact of LWIB been on you and your professional trajectory?
Totally. And I love that question because when I joined as a freshman, I expected to be kind of in the background of things. I'd go to a couple meetings and do what was expected of me. And I'm so honest about that. I talked to the members our first meeting, and I was like, the first LWIB meeting that I showed up to, actually, I didn't read the details. And I show up in overalls and sneakers with a Diet Coke in hand. And I'm like, what are all these cute, like, professionally dressed women going to? It was an LWIB meeting. And I turned around and I joined online, and I was like mortified. I was like, I cannot go back there. So to hear that story and then now be the president is just such a great, duality of things. And I think what initially got me involved was I was really inspired by the other members, and I knew I wanted to do more. I just didn't know how. So getting that chief marketing officer role, that was crazy to me. I was like, me? Like, why would they choose me? And I totally transformed and rebranded the marketing, and that eventually led me to the confidence to, restructure the entire organization and lead 250 women. So it was a fun journey, but very unconventional, I would say.
That's amazing to see your personal journey and transformation into leadership. Now, you mentioned several of the things Lindner Women in Business do sort of on a monthly basis, but one of your signature events is Empowerment Day that occurs every March. And although we are recording this ahead of this year's event, which is March 2nd, is that correct?
Yes.
What is this day all about, and how does it benefit students?
Totally. So Empowerment Day is amazing. It's the first Saturday of March, and it's in March in lieu of, Women's History Month. So that is always super great way to kind of kick off honoring and empowering other women. As textbook definition-wise, it's a leadership conference. Anyone's invited. It's open, obviously, to all the members, but also faculty, family members, high schoolers. So there's a huge community coming in. And we do what we do at LWIB meetings, but for the entire day. And it is absolutely incredible. It starts off networking, then we have a keynote speaker, which everyone hears from. And then there's 3 sessions throughout the day that consist of 3 breakouts. And those breakouts are something as specific as women in accounting or something as broad as, how to brand yourself. So this just builds a lot of excitement and confidence among our members. And it just continuously inspires me every single year. So many of the ladies on my executive team actually were inspired to apply for exec because they went to Empowerment Day. They're like, how do I get more involved in this? This is awesome. And so it just really, it builds so much momentum for the organization as well. So that's been one of my things as president this year, is making every day feel like Empowerment Day. But obviously this event is just hands down one of those tentpole moments that we love in our organization, and I'm super excited for.
Yeah, I love that. I was lucky enough to attend Empowerment Day last year.
Awesome.
And what struck me was really the high school students who were able to attend and seeing them really begin on this journey towards, the leaders you see them becoming someday.
Totally.
And so that really resonated with me as being impactful.
Yeah.
Speaking of transformative journeys, Jane, you teach Women in Sales. Now, this is a course you originated in my dealings with students, I have found that this course is wildly popular. When I ask them one of their most transformative experiences, so many will say Women in Sales. So can you tell us more about this course and what gives it such a universal draw? Because it's not just female students who are drawn to this course, it's everyone.
Well, thank you for asking. I'm as excited about this course as my students are. I love to teach it. What it came out of was really kind of frustration. I was teaching intro to marketing, and I would tell my but my background is sales, and I would tell my students, well, why don't you take a sales course? No. And then even the women who were in the course who were so good, I'd say, well, why don't you consider a sales career? Sales is very lucrative. Well, I don't have enough. So I couldn't get them to consider sales as a career option, Meanwhile, recruiters, because I was in charge of the sales center, wanted a diverse workforce, and they wanted women. So I went to P&G. I was fortunate to get a higher education innovation grant to start the course. And we called it Women in Sales. And at the time, all I knew was that women sold differently than men. I knew it. I could see it in class. So what started out as a one-time course, I thought I'd teach it one time, 25 students, 25 women, 2 men. I love my men, love my men. Mm-hmm. I now teach 240 students, mostly women. Every semester I've had over 1,400 women and men go through the course. And I think what makes it so popular is what I learned was, in order to be successful in sales, and I would maintain in life, and now we're carrying it over to leadership, I teach women how to get over their fear of failure, because you know what? If you're in sales and if you're in life, you are going to be told no. So we better teach you how to get over it. Resilience, which is the ability to bounce back quickly after failure. So if you do fail, not a problem. You go right on. And the confidence to ask for what you want. It's not going to drop in your lap. You have to ask for it. What's the worst that can happen? They say no. What's going to happen? Nothing. You move on. Yes, you got it. So I think it builds life skills. And Phoebe's the perfect example.
I loved that course. I think just hands down, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, it's like the most engaging and useful class that I've taken in college. And it was really fun that so many people all across UC were taking it. So there was, in my class specifically, there was a film major, there was a psych major, there was a health sciences major. And it's really cool to have that variety of skill level and variety of insight coming into this course. It makes really great conversations. And I'd say my favorite part was definitely the resilience papers. Because it really, I'd sit and think, where did I go wrong and how can I do better next time? And that just sparked a memory. I totally forgot about those. So I love that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think seeing these quote unquote business skills as life skills is something that Lindner does wonderfully and instills in its students that really prepares them for whatever direction they take their career in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, Jane, you, in addition to this Women in Sales course, originating the Sales Center, you also find time to be a faculty fellow with the Warren Bennis Leadership Institute and lead several other initiatives focused on instilling leadership in students, including the Inspire Equip Connect group for UC's women athletes, another organization that I've heard nothing but rave reviews about. So how have you seen these types of initiatives as you've introduced them through your time at Lindner and UC? How have you seen these programs transform students and prepare them for their future careers in this professional world that may not be as receptive to them, especially for women?
Yeah, that's a really good question. IEC was an outgrowth of Women in Sales, and I had a student athlete, and she was in SAC, which is a leadership organization in athletics. And she said, I've got a lot of colleagues or a lot of teammates who don't have time in their schedule, or they can't fit in Women in Sales, or the class books up. They can't get in, but they need these skills. Can we develop something to teach them the skills? And so she and I spent a summer developing Inspire, Equip, and Connect. And what it basically is the sales course minus the sales piece. It's the women's empowerment piece. Wow. So we've been delivering it to student athletes, women, for about 4 years now. And what I have found, and I've got the data, I just haven't had time to analyze it yet. These women who were amazingly confident on the field, on the court. I can't think of any thing scarier than having the game on the line and I'm at the free throw line. I would melt. I would absolutely melt. They're confident there. I would get them into a business situation or a class situation or a sales situation where they need to speak up, and the confidence wasn't there. So what we did was take the women's empowerment piece, teach them that, and especially, Phoebe would be able to tell you this, how do you build confidence? You practice. Yeah. Well, that's something they know inside and out. So within IEC, we give them safe opportunities to practice, and it's a really quick learn. It's a really quick study because they know how to be confident in their sport. Well, same process, different venue, we build their confidence outside, and they are amazingly strong and powerful women.
I love that. I haven't heard about that. That's awesome.
Well, we're going to expand it to other groups,
Yeah,
Phoebe. So
that's great.
We could have a section. We could have a little group for your
little collaboration there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you both have such unique perspectives, Phoebe as a student leader and a student and a budding professional, and Jane as a faculty member and educator. How have you seen these confidence building techniques? How have you seen them play out in your career or in others' careers, especially seeing students?
Oh, that's a good question. I tell you what, one of my favorite quotations is, "You teach that which you need to learn." I teach this not because I was an expert in it. I needed to learn it. There is no one who was afraid of everything than me. And but I would never make my students do something that I wouldn't do. And so, for example, we had a family tragedy. It fell on my shoulders to negotiate with a Fortune 500 company, and I was scared to death. I was scared to death, and then I thought, wait a minute, I'm teaching this stuff. I used everything I learned in terms of confidence, in terms of body language, in terms of communication. My sister and her children will never have to worry about money, but I had to practice what I preach. And that's really, it's fun for me. So a good teacher will always say, oh, I learn more from my students than they learn from me. I would say that's true in this case.
I love that. I think it's completely transformed my experience and my trajectory. I came to college not really knowing what my path was going to be and if I was going to be involved, if I was going to switch my major. And I think it took the Women in Sales class and it took LWIB to really make that path for me and steer me in the right direction in a way. Because I would have never had the confidence or the skills to write an email correctly or brand myself correctly or have the confidence and be unapologetically confident. And I think that is kind of the biggest thing that I've learned and, helped my leadership team and executive team comprehend as well and apply to their lives. And I just think it's such an incredible thing to learn. And I think everyone should learn it. And so I love it.
Absolutely. And building on that, I'm going to put a plug in for my men, too, even though it's women's history. We love men, okay? We love men. And what I'm finding is that in many cases, well, number one, they're our strongest allies after they come out of the class. And I always have a couple of men, taking every class. They are our strongest allies. And quite honestly, they need the same skill set too. I'm not sure they admit it as freely as the women admit it, but they need it, and they're delightful.
Yes, high tides raise all ships, and we love to see that. Throughout this conversation, we've sort of hinted around that these attributes, the Women in Sales class, which is one of few in the nation that are offered, and LWIB as well, these are such unique attributes to Lindner.
Totally.
So when it comes to empowering future women business leaders, what sets Lindner apart? What are we doing differently that really prepares these women to be this next generation of fantastic business leaders that not only achieve success in their careers, but turn around and lift others up?
Well, I'm going to jump right in because her name is Dean Marianne Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, and to your point, we're the only school in the country that teaches a Women in Sales class, which is really, there's no reason. I mean, I can tell you why the reason is, but there's really no reason. It could be replicated. We're the only school that had the courage to do that. And Dean Lewis was the associate dean when I came to her with the idea and thinking, are we allowed to do this? Yeah, we're allowed to do this, and men are welcome, of course. Yeah. And she has been supportive. She's supportive of all the things going on. Numerous women's initiatives. We just started a Women in Finance club. We have a Women in Entrepreneurship club. There's a class on the economics of women that goes into what happens when a woman drops out of the workforce to have children, or when she gets divorced. What's the economic impact of that? And I think that makes us special and unique for women.
Yeah. I love on the fourth floor, you see the Hall of Deans, and then you see Dean Lewis, and it's such an empowering feeling to, you see a line of men, and at the very end, currently we have a woman. I think that's awesome. I think my answer is pretty cliche UC Lindner answer, but I truly think the push for co-ops and the push for actual professional experience creates such a diverse skill set among our students and a diverse, mindset. When I come together with my LWIB girls or my friends, how advanced sometimes we talk about like our professions is amazing to think like, oh, we were 19 when we did that. We were 21 when we did that. And we were working alongside like amazing professionals. And I love that, it can be at a startup. It can be at a P&G. It can be as specific or as broad as you want it to be. And when I just see my LWIB girls come together, anyone come together, I just think we have such unique experiences that is what sets us apart. And I love the new initiative. I think like now it's required to have a co-op. I don't know how I found the motivation to apply for one, but one day I did, and I got one. It took 75 applications later, and I got 2 interviews out of those 75 applications, and I got 1 internship. And once you score that first one, I mean, you're totally set. But yeah, I'd say the co-ops and the internships set us apart.
I love to hear a plug for co-op because
Totally.
that is something that is so unique to us. Once again, not only Lindner, but the University of Cincinnati. And now we are revolutionizing the way we do things at Lindner with our universal co-op program. And how you mentioned that, I'm continuously impressed when I speak with students at how advanced and professional they are at such young ages. These co-op programs are truly transformative for our women in business and our men in business.
Yeah.
Everyone benefits from
For sure.
these experiences.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you, Phoebe and Jane, for joining me today. It has been a pleasure to speak with the both of you. For our listeners, be sure to catch future episodes of Bearcats Mean Business on Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. And join us next time to hear from a Lindner student and their academic advisor about how taking full advantage of Lindner's robust advising ecosystem can elevate your experience and propel your academic and career goals.